So how do you build confidence as a new mortgage broker? That is a great question, and one that many new mortgage advisors, I remember right now, even myself, bringing myself back to it, what it was like in those first few months and even the first year. It's terrifying, and you feel super unconfident is the word, really. It's massive amounts of imposter syndrome. You don't really know what you're doing. And I have now seen, obviously, we had the pleasure to work with incredible mortgage advisors who've built very, very large businesses and big income. But I still always remember what it felt like to be that advisor right at the beginning. And so I've wrote down 3 things on my iPad here that I'm going to go through with you on this video, which is the 3 things I think you need to do when it comes to building confidence as a new mortgage advisor, the big areas I would be focusing on. So the very first one you have is that you need to accept that you are new. I think that it's very easy to get into this role, which has an incredibly steep learning curve, by the way, and then assume that you need to know the answers to everything. And if you don't, and you look around at these other advisors, especially if you're employed, you look at the other advisors and you think, they know everything and I don't, and why don't I? I must be awful. And that's absolutely not true. You're not awful. You're a human being and you're completely new. And the learning curve is very steep. And I think accepting that, first of all, is very, very, very important, because you will, otherwise you'll never succeed. If you think that you're holding yourself to a standard of writing, 5 to 8 to 10 mortgages a month or whatever it may be, straight out the gate, it's just not going to happen. And you're going to feel terribly frightened about having conversations with people and all of that stuff. Okay. So accept that you're new is probably the biggest thing, which then leads me to my second point. So my second point here is, you want to get the reps in as much as you can. So no matter how unconfident you feel, no matter how much that imposter syndrome is hitting in, you need to get those reps in and speak to customers as much as you can. If you're employed, they're going to give you leads, see them. Do not run away from it, run towards it. The more you do that, the better you're going to succeed at it by far. Also study within this as well. So you can study, and you should be looking at content like mine. There's other content out there as well. Not much, but there is. And so you can go and study and try and understand what these are like. Now, one of the things I loved to do when I was an advisor, little trick on this one, is I would study and plot out my entire discovery call completely, which is how I ended up building it out for brokers in the end, is because I've just always obsessed with this. I'm one of these people that if I'm unconfident, I will work myself out of that imposter syndrome and fear. I will work myself to the point where I am confident. And that is by plotting it and running it like reps. So I'd run the reps. I would run it in my head while I was talking in the car. I pretend that I was appointments. I would do all of those things. That's the thing you can do. You don't have to worry about this idea of, what if people don't like me, do like me? Remember, they don't know. 99% of the time, the person you're speaking to doesn't have a clue about mortgages anyway. So they don't know if you're good or bad or anything. So they really don't worry about it. It's really not a big deal. Which then brings me to my third point. And the third point in this is, you need to celebrate the small wins. So celebrate every single little win you have. Like everyone. Tick it off. I've done that. I've won, I quoted that sourcing on sourcing on Mortgage Brain, for example, and I didn't stumble. Or I used 27 Tech and didn't get all tied up, or I sat in front of a client, asked them about rapport, and it made sense. All like as in about their system. All of these things are tiny wins that are huge, and but they compound, because this is a game, a business of, and a game of small compounding wins to the point where one day you wake up and you're like, oh, I got this. But it takes a long time. Like even when I was a mortgage advisor, it took me about a year before I was like, I'm confident. And luckily I had an experienced background in estate agency. So because of that, I heavily lent on that. But when it came to mortgages, I didn't have a clue, and I was very overwhelmed. But there was a point where it just clicked. Same here with coaching. There was a time where I was like, I just feel like I'm winging it. I don't really know what I'm doing. And there was a time a number of years ago now where I just kind of woke up one day and was like, I've got this. And that's exactly where you want to be with that. So remember that if you celebrate the small wins, you'll be okay. So if you accept that you're new, if you get those reps in and you do the study in and you role play it with yourself in the car or wherever you are, do that, get the practice in, and then celebrate every little win that comes with that, you will be fine. Do not worry. Do not panic. You'll be okay. You'll get through it, and you'll be absolutely successful and flying, I'm sure. Now, if you want help with studying and you want to get better at this stuff, that's actually what my other YouTube channel does, my main YouTube channel, which is my coaching channel, which is all about helping brokers who are established, who are in the space, going through that stuff. I'd highly recommend you check out that channel, which I'll put it up on screen now for you here so you can click on it. Go and check that out. I release videos once a week on that, which is all about brokers who are doing the business. This channel's more for career. That channel is for actually once you're in the business business and you're running it. And that's the type of stuff that you should study to get your confidence built up.